Communication is the easy transmission of thoughts and ideas from one individual to another and vice versa. Ideas in the original form and reception and understanding of others' ideas in the original form. Communication is the easy transmission of thoughts and ideas from one individual to another and vice versa, and reception and understanding of others' ideas in original form. Various forms of communication: sign language, voice medium, written script, line transmission or cable, radio wave, space wave, digital communication, runners, wireless communication, electronic or digital analog. Types of communication: line communication and radio communication. Types of communication: line communication, radio communication, static, force, signal, telephone field, permanent, etc. Radio communication use radio waves to carry information such as sound by systematic modulating properties of EM energy waves. Radio waves use radio waves to carry information such as sound by systematically modulating properties of EM energy waves. Advantages of line communication: free from electrical interference, secure, limited availability of material and manpower. Disadvantages of line communication: physical interference, takes time to construct, inflexible once it is laid, expensive in men and material. Radio communication: wave, disturbances that travel through a medium from one location to another. Wave. Radio relay: series of radio transmitters and receivers normally spread across 20 to 35 km apart. Net radio: basic means of signal communication for any mobile phones. Radio telephony: procedure is laid out to communicate on radio so as to make the conversation secure and successful. Radio telephony. Principles of RT procedure: BAS, brevity, accuracy, security, speed. Principles of RT procedure: BRAS, brevity, accuracy, security, speed. Radio net, stations working on same frequency communicate with each other. Control station, station serving as senior headquarter in radio net. Motorola RSGP5. Communication is the easy transmission of thoughts and ideas from one individual to another and vice versa, and reception and understanding of others' ideas in the original form. Various forms of communications are sign language, voice, written script, line transmission, radio wave, space wave, and highly complex digital communication. Sign language, voice, written script, line transmission, radio wave, space wave, and highly complex digital communication. In modern battlefield, activities of the army have become very complex and require frequent communication between commanders and troops to achieve the desired results. Importance of communications is becoming a major ingredient of modern warfare. Line communication. The invention of telephone by Graham Bell revolutionized the word of communications as individuals were able to speak directly to each. The invention of telephone by Graham Bell revolutionized the world of communications as individuals were able to speak directly to each other. This is the basic means of signal communications for a force which is static. A telephone This is the basic means of signal communications for a force which is static. A telephone is by far the best means of signal communication between individuals. Advantages. Reliable line communication is reliable and practically free from electrical interference. It is relatively secure. Number of circuits and message carrying capacity is more, but limited only by availability of material and manpower. Disadvantages of line communication: vulnerable to physical interference and enemy interception along the entire length of route, takes time to construct, inflexible once it is laid, expensive in men and material. Radio communication. Radio is the technology of using radio waves to carry information such as sound by systematically modulating properties of electromagnetic energy waves. The information in the waves can be extracted when radio waves strike an electrical conductor and transformed back into its original form. Radio communication requires the use of both transmitting and receiving equipment. Radio communication requires the use of both transmitting and receiving equipment. The transmitting equipment, which includes a radio transmitter and transmitter antenna, is installed at the point from which messages are transmitted. The receiving equipment, which includes a radio receiver and receiving antenna. ട്രാൻസ്മിറ്റിംഗ് എക്യുപ്മെന്റ് എന്തൊക്കെയുണ്ട്? റേഡിയോ ട്രാൻസ്മിറ്ററും ട്രാൻസ്മിറ്റിംഗ് ആൻറ്റിനയും. പിന്നെ അതുപോലെ തന്നെ റിസീവിംഗ് എക്യുപ്മെന്റ് എന്തൊക്കെയുണ്ട്? റേഡിയോ റിസീവറും റിസീവിംഗ് ആൻറ്റിനയും. is installed at the point where at which messages are received. Wave. A wave can be described as a disturbance that travels through a medium from one location to another location. It's a disturbance that travels through a medium from one location to another location. Types of waves can be broadly classified into two parts: mechanical waves and electromagnetic waves. A mechanical wave is a wave that is oscillation of matter and therefore transfers energy through a medium. Electromagnetic waves are waves which travel through a vacuum of outer space. Propagation of waves. The mode of propagation of electromagnetic waves, EMW, from transmitter to receiver depends upon the frequency employed. These can be of following types: sky wave propagation, space wave propagation, ground wave propagation, tropospheric scatter. Sky wave propagation. The sky waves are radio waves of frequency between 2 megahertz to 30 megahertz with a range is 100 kilometer to 1000 kilometers. These radio waves make use of ionosphere layer existing to a height of 150 to 200 kilometer from the surface of earth and are reflected back by the ionosphere of earth's atmosphere. Space wave propagation. The space waves are the radio waves of very high frequency, that is between 30 megahertz to 300 megahertz or more. The propagation of WHF takes place in a straight line. The space waves can travel through atmosphere from transmitter antenna to receiver antenna either directly or after reflection from ground in the Earth's tropospheric region. Their range is limited by curvature of Earth. Therefore, distance between two neighboring stations is approx 50 km. Ground wave propagation. It is a method of radio frequency propagation that uses the area between the surface of Earth and ionosphere for transmission. Ground wave radio signals propagation is ideal for relatively short distance propagation on these frequencies during daytime with a limited range of approximately 30 kilometers. Tropospheric scatter, also known as troposcatter. It is a method of communicating with microwave radio signals over considerable distances, often up to 300 kilometers, and further depending on terrain and climate factors. Radio signals are transmitted in a narrow beam aimed just above the horizon in the direction of the receiver station. Communication distances are limited by the visual horizon to around 30 to 40 miles. Tropospheric scatter is fairly secure method of propagation as dish alignment is critical, making it extremely difficult to intercept the signals, especially if transmitted across open water, making them highly attractive to military users. Radio communication involves net radio and radio relay. Net radio. Net radio is the basic means of signal communication for any mobile force. Efficiency of net radio communication is appreciably affected by factors such as weather, terrain, power output of the set, state of training of operators, and equipment maintenance. It provides facilities for the following: radio telephony, radio telegraphy, and teleprinters. Radio telephony. Simple one-way voice communication depending on the type of equipment available. Radio telegraphy for transmission of message and key conversations. Teleprinters over radio transmission. Telegraphy for transmission of message and key conversations. Advantages of net radio: vulnerable only at terminal and is therefore reasonably protected from enemy action except by a direct hit. Flexible hence can be rapidly rearranged in the event of regrouping. Rapid in establishing communication. Works on the move, although range obtained will be much less than when stationary. Economical in personnel and equipment. Disadvantages of net radio: inherently insecure and susceptible to enemy interception, which necessitates the use of codes and ciphers with a consequent delay in clearing traffic and overall increase in operating personnel. Net radio, being inherently insecure, demands a considerable degree of security consciousness on the part of the users. This means adherence to standard procedure and security codes. Radio relay. Radio relay implies that a series of radio transmitters and receivers, normally spaced between 20 to 35 kilometers apart, and are used to provide point signal communication. Advantages of radio relay: replace line with considerable economy of manpower and stores. It can be operated over area where, for reasons of ground or enemy activity, use of line may not be possible. Provides greater flexibility than line. Quick to set up and move except in mountainous country. By its ability to employ multi-channel equipment, radio relay provides more teleprinter circuits over one link that can normally be provided over the average field cable. Thus, it has much greater traffic handling capacity. Disadvantages of radio relay: liable to interception and hence insecure, has relatively greater security than net radio, depending upon the setting and direction of the beams. Liable to interference from enemy jamming, although not as much in case of net radio. Terrain between stations must be reasonably suitable to get a quasi optical path. This presents difficulty in sitting. Location of terminal and intermediate stations may not suit tactical layout and may therefore create additional protection requirements. It cannot work on the move. Slightly more expensive in men and material than in case of net radio. Needs critical sitting. Conclusion: communication has made a remarkable impact in our life and has changed it many folds. Both the line and the radio communication have provided us with several advantages to make our life more comfortable. Telecommunications has strictly altered communication by providing new media for long distance communication. Therefore, it is important for one to understand the nuances of the communication set. Characteristic of wireless technology, mobile Wi-Fi, etc. The development on Wi-Fi technology began in 1997 when the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers IEEE introduced the 802.11 technologies that carried higher capacities of data across. Wi-Fi provides its users with the liberty of connecting to the internet from any place, such as their home, office, or a public place without hassles of plugging in the wires. It is quicker than the conventional modem for accessing information over a large network. Wi-Fi use radio network to transmit data between its nodes. Such networks are made up of cells that provide coverage across the network. The more the number of cells, greater and stronger is the coverage on the radio network. Features of Wi Fi technology: wireless operations permit services such as a long range communications which are impossible or impractical to implement with the use of wires. Information is transferred in this manner over both short and long distances. The following list summarizes some of the benefits of a Wi Fi network. Unmatched mobility and elasticity. Wi Fi is allowing the new intensity of connectivity without giving up functions. Wi Fi introduced various types of utilities, such as music streamers that transmit your music to speakers without any wire. You can also play music from the remote computer or any other attached to the network. The most important now, you can play online radio. Wi-Fi technology system is rather remarkable. You can download songs, send an email, and transfer files expediently at skyscraping speed. And you can move your computer easily because your Wi-Fi network has no cable to disrupt your work. So we can say that it is quite easy, helpful, and most of all expedient. 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 Fortress technology. Wi-Fi providing secure wireless solutions support the growth and release of a prototype mobile ad hoc wireless network for use in wireless strategic skirmish, 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 wireless strategic skirmish. Support an entire age bracket. Wi Fi technology has several advantages. It supports an entire age bracket and create a connection between components on the same network and have the ability to transfer data between the devices and enable different kinds of devices such as game, MP3 player, PDAs, and much more. Convenient and available anywhere everywhere. Wi Fi is a convenient technology, and where the network range station exists, you are online during travel. You can equip with a Wi Fi network and get connected. You will automatically connect to the internet if you are near a hotspot. These days, Wi Fi exists everywhere with all its wonders. Faster and secure. With Wi-Fi, you can get a high speed of internet because it is very fast than DSL and cable connection. You can establish a Wi-Fi network in a small space. Now you don't need any personal professional installation. Just connect to a power outlet with an Ethernet code and start browsing. Wi-Fi security system for threats makes it more renewable and its tool protect your VPN and secure web page. You can easily configure the device to take better performance. The standard devices, embedded systems, and network security make it more powerful. Wi-Fi with no limitations. You can use a Wi-Fi network with no limitation because it can connect you worldwide. You can easily cater to your requirements with Wi Fi networking applications because the power consumption is not very high as compared to another bandwidth networks. The future of wireless internet network communications is bright. Extension of Wi Fi technology. It is because of this wireless technology that so many other advancements could take place. Have you even thought of your TV to be supported by Wi Fi? Well, if you didn't, start thinking now. There are smart TVs in a market that connects to the internet. Having the internet on TV makes it possible to watch YouTube videos, Netflix, and so much more. Read more about Wi Fi TV technology on World Wide Web for more information. Cost reduction. As mentioned above, the absence of wires and cables brings down cost. Flexibility. Extended across cost reductions and mobility create opportunities for new applications as well as the possibility of creating new solutions for legacy applications. Terminal equipment and limitations of Wi Fi. Mobile telephones. One of the best known examples of wireless technology is the mobile phone, also known as cellular phone, with more than 4.6 billion mobile cellular subscriptions worldwide as of the end of 2010. These wireless phones use radio waves from signal transmission towers to enable their users to make phone calls from many locations worldwide. Wireless data communication. Wireless data communications are an essential component of mobile computing. The various available technologies differ in local availability, coverage range, and performance. And in some circumstances, users must be able to employ multiple connection types and switch between them. Wi Fi technology is not perfect and has many flaws that limit its uses as follows. Security. Because wireless transmissions can pass through walls, security is an issue. Wireless reception varies from areas to areas, even with your own apartment. It is not always guaranteed that you will have a connection to the internet. Interference. Call quality is greatly influenced by the environment. It is particularly sensitive to electromagnetic radiation generated by other household appliances. Compatibility issue. Despite the global standardization, many devices from different manufacturers are not fully compatible, which in turn affects the speed of communication. Conclusion. The environment is flooded with various Wi Fi software tools. Each of these tools is specifically designed for different types of network operating systems and usage types. It is imperative for users to have a good detailed knowledge about this latest technology and pick out a Wi Fi software tool that is compatible with their computer and its dynamics. Through the Wi Fi hotspot, the users can even enhance their home business as accessing information through Wi Fi is simple. Characterizations of walkie-talkie. A walkie-talkie, formerly known as a handheld transceiver, are a handheld portable two-way radio transceiver. Its development during the Second World War is credited to Donald L. Hinks, a radio engineer, Alfred J. Gross, and engineering teams at Motorola, where a phone's earpiece was only loud enough to be heard by the user. A walkie-talkie's built-in speaker can be heard by the user and those in user's immediate vicinity. Handheld transceivers may be used to communicate between each other or to vehicle mounted to base station. Radio set GP388 Motorola. Defense organizations use handheld radios for a variety of purposes. Radio set GP388 Motorola can communicate on a variety of bands and modulation schemes. Facilities and features. Facilities. It is portable and light in weight. Can be operated easily. It can be operated in WHF and UHF and two-way simplex mode. 128 channel of this radio set can be present into 8 zone. Option of selective call facilities available. Alert can be given to receiver station. Can select required zone. Start or stop facilities of scan operation available. Add and delete from scan list facilities available. Weight and measure. Weight and measure of this radio set is as follows. Dimension with nickel metal hydride capacity battery. 137 into 57.5 into 337.5 millimeter. Weight in nickel metal hydride high capacity battery 420 gram. Frequency range. Frequency of this radio set is under as follows: 136 megahertz to 174 megahertz on VHF mode, 403 megahertz to 470 megahertz on UHF mode. Communication range. Communication range of this radio set is 4 to 5 kilometer and 20 to 40 kilometer with repeater. 4 to 5 kilometer and 22 kilometer repeater. Communication range. Power supply. Power supply can be provided to this radio set by high capacity 7.2 volt batteries. Battery charging time 1 hour of high capacity 7.2 volt batteries. Power output HF1 to 5 watt. Power output UHF to 1 to 4 watt. Handling of walkie-talkie. Model or shape. The radio set has been divided into four portions: top panel, front panel, back panel, side panel. Top panel contains on and off volume knob, channel selector knob, top buttons, and antenna. Side button. Side button. Name and functions of the large control on side panel is to press to talk switch and right side accessory mount. Front panel. There are a total of 6 buttons, that is exit key, up key, menu, select key. Front panel keypad. This is an alphanumeric keypad. There are 10 keys on the pad from 0 to 9. One key star and one extract key. LCD display. This is a 14 character LCD display window and 14 types of indicators are displayed. Back panel. The battery is fixed on this back panel of radio. Conclusion. Walkie talkies were created for armed forces to operate in field areas and also for internal security during peacetime. However, seeing their effectiveness, utilization, user friendly features, walkie talkies have been spread to public and private sectors for public safety and is also for commercial and job site work. Job site work. Therefore, it is important for cadets to understand the essential features, functioning, and importance of technology. The procedure is laid out to communicate on radio so as to make the conversation secure and successful, which is referred to as radio relay.